We're here, so excited to be with you guys. And I'm just waiting a second to make sure that we're live in all of our platforms, but I think we are. I feel very good about it. I'll be getting a text message from people. And if I am live, please say hello on the chat. This is our pledge drive season. We're super excited to be with you guys today. I'm very excited to bring you all of our speakers today. And let me just check. It said, yep, okay. We are checking on the platforms. So while we're waiting to make sure that I'm actually live and that I'm not talking to myself like a crazy person, I want to thank you for being here. Every year we do, every 6 months or so, we do a pledge drive. And our pledge drive is focused on bringing you amazing homeopathy speakers while asking you guys to support our missions at Americans for Homeopathy Choice. And yes, so, okay, here we go. And I'm going to share my screen and introduce our theme for this year. Hopefully you guys have seen that we have a theme. Oops, here it is. Homeopathy is my superpower. There's my screen. Okay, you guys should be able to see it. And so we have gotten an amazing lineup in the coming week with amazing people in the homeopathy community that we think are superheroes. We have 2 superheroes for you guys today. And this is how homeopathy is powerful to us. Homeopathy helps us conquer health issues and thrive. And so we just love homeopathy. And so that's why we kind of came up with this theme this year. So our goal for our pledge drive is $45,000. This helps us keep our mission going. We don't have very many people who are paid at Homeopathy Choice. We have a lot of legal fees because we work with a lot of attorneys, but we're really, really thankful for everybody's support. And so far leading up to this, we already have gotten donations that added up to $38.95, and our goal is to get to $45,000. And so we just thank you so much for being here. While you guys are watching, if you could just stop what you're doing and share this video link if you're watching it on YouTube, if you're watching it on Facebook, share this video with us, with your friends, and say, hey, this is going on right now. You can catch it afterwards if you're not able to right now, but we would love for you to join the pledge drive. And then we want to send a big thank you to our amazing sponsors. That includes Miranda Castro, Homeopathy Center of Houston, National Center for Homeopathy, Karen Allen, Medicine Man Inc., Homeopathy Help Network, Academy of Homeopathy Education, Resilience Naturopathy, Texas Society of Homeopaths, Council for Homeopathic Certification, the Florida Homeopathic Society, and the International Academy of Classical Homeopathy. We are incredibly thankful for your guys' support and for all that you guys do. So our pledge drive sponsor for today is the Texas Society of Homeopathy. Thank you so much for all that you guys have done to support us. We're very thankful. And then also a big thanks to the Florida Homeopathic Society. We are so thankful for all that you guys do. So for our pledge drive, we always do a raffle. And today's first raffle, we're going to start right away. You guys are going to get my Homeopathy Hero card game, which is something I've developed kind of on the side, separate from my Homeopathy Choice Rule. We're going to give you a t-shirt that says y'all need homeopathy. We're giving you this wonderful homeopathy kit that actually our friends at Pharma have helped us put together to sell to you guys as fundraisers, but also this is going to be your gift. We're getting you guys an amazing Materia Medica, and we're giving you a cheat sheet that we've created on, different homeopathy remedies. So it's really awesome raffle prize. And so also just know that during the pledge drive right now, during this whole week, anything in our shop is discounted, and you can use the discount code HERO10. So that's a letter O and then 10, the number numeric 0. That will give you guys a 10% off at our shop. And so you guys can head over there and use that during this whole pledge drive. I like wearing homeopathy fashion. I'm wearing here a Mommyopath t-shirt, which is super fun. And let's see. Okay, so a big thanks to Pharma again. This little emergency kit, you guys, is actually in our shop that you can buy. It is part of the giveaway that we're doing for the raffle. But what's so cool about this kit is you get this box that has all of these awesome remedies that are part of someone's basic emergency medicine kit. But with that comes 2 little tins, and the first tin is where you put all the remedies in. So I have children, and you know, one way that I do that I'm able to get more out of my kit is I'll pour half of the bottle into these little glass bottles and split the remedies in half, and then one kid takes one kid takes another. So if I have a son that's off at youth camp and another kid that's off, you know, at basketball camp, they both can have their little emergency medicine kit. And that's one way that we make it kind of, you know, have both kids have a little. They're just teeny little bottles that you pour the pellets in there from the ohm bottle, and that's just a really great way to kind of have it just for emergencies. It's not my daily use remedies, it's just my emergencies. So really thankful for them. And so today we're going to be talking to Justina Mazur and Robert Mello. Not sure if I pronounced your name correctly, Justina, but we'll talk to her in a little bit. But look at this amazing lineup. I'm so excited at everyone who's going to be speaking. We're having Sue Meyer again. She is a returnee. We have Dr. Todd Rowe, he's returning, but then we have a couple of new faces. We have Dr. Lisa Amarine and then Kim Elia. And so we're really excited about everybody that's part of this week's pledge drive. Okay, I'm so excited to introduce you to this couple. I actually have met both of them in person, which is really fun in the homeopathy community. We do so much stuff online. Justina is married to Robert Mello, so they're the power couple of our superhero, you know, lineup this week. And Justina is a highly skilled professional with a strong background in chemistry and quality assurance. She has a bachelor's of science degree in chemistry and physics and a master's of science in chemistry. She's gained expertise in analytical chemistry, colloidal chemistry, and radiochemistry, which is amazing. Justina, I would have been good friends with you in school, not because I'm good at science, but because I'm not good at science. And then you would have helped me. And then with extensive experience as director of quality assurance and quality control, Justina excels in developing and maintaining quality systems, overseeing regulatory compliance, and implementing corrective and preventative action plans to ensure adherence to industry standards and regulations. So her attention to detail, guys, and commitment to continuous improvement make her a valued asset in the field of homeopathy. Dr. Robert Mello is a medical doctor. He's trained in conventional medicine and specialized in homeopathy. He's currently the president of Om Pharma, and it's a reputable FDA-registered pharmaceutical manufacturing facility focusing on homeopathic medicines. He's got a strong commitment to advancing homeopathy. He actively participates in various professional organizations and promotes the integration of homeopathy into mainstream medicine through research and collaboration. So I'm super excited to have you guys here with us. So Robert and Justina, go ahead and turn on your camera and say hello. Let me click. Oh, there you go.
Here we are. Yeah, thank you.
Here you are. Yes, so you guys look great. I love the jackets that you guys are wearing.
Yeah.
You guys are a power couple. Do you guys have Superman under your shirt by any chance? No?
No.
Because I feel like what you guys do, I feel like what you guys do for the homeopathy community is a super heavy lift. So let's talk about, first of all, tell us how you guys met, because I want to know. It's not on the list here, but tell me how you two met, because that's always fun.
Thank you. Yes, thanks a lot. Happy to be here. So we met 20 years ago. Actually, Justina came to do an internship in Om Pharma. So that's really how we met, as an intern.
Yes, and it's already 20 years past, so fast.
That's amazing. So homeopathy brought you two together.
Yeah. Yes.
That's so romantic. Well, that's great. Well, very good. I think you picked a good woman, Robert. So, you know, I read your background, Justina. Can you tell us really briefly what you do then at Om Pharma exactly, and how that's different from what Robert does?
Well, I would have to say that you cannot say it briefly, because the work that we do, that I have to oversee, it's whole list of quality assurance and quality control. We will show it in the slides, like more in details, because it's a lot of details that I cannot tell you in 2 sentences. It has to be really following the GMP and assuring that the GMP is followed, and oversee quality assurance oversee basically production, quality control, logistics, all departments in the manufacturing.
Okay, so you're focusing, so regulatory compliance with FDA requirements and all that. And then do you do that as well, Robert? Is this like a team effort or do you do something separate?
No, Justina takes care more of the regulatory part, the most difficult part. I mean, she does that. I mean, it's amazing. I'm very grateful that you know she's helping us, and it's a lot of work. No, I don't. I'm involved a little bit in regulatory, but not so much. I'm in the other part of that.
Gotcha, gotcha. So who has the fun job?
No, there's no fun job.
Like nobody has the fun job, Paula. It all
No,
sucks.
no. It
Oh,
is
that's
very
funny.
difficult. It is particularly in the last 5 years, 5 6 years. It has been. It is complex, very complex. What we do. No, this is. It is nice what we do, but it is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. People don't imagine how difficult this is.
So really it's your passion. It's your passion for homeopathy that drives it. Now, Justina, Robert, what I think is so cool about you, Robert, is you have a family in South America, Venezuela? No,
Colombia.
Colombia. Sorry, I get all of them confused besides Brazil. And so your family in Colombia, they're like homeopathy royalty. It's been in your family for generations. But Justina, does your family have a history with homeopathy, or did it begin with Robert?
No, I mean, homeopathy is popular in Poland, but only, I would say, very classical homeopathy and some products in pharmacies. But my family was not using homeopathy. I started to use it when I came, and then I started to get allergic reactions, and then, okay, this is working.
Yes, that's amazing. So you started having like seasonal allergies, because Texas does that. It's got lots of allergies, and then homeopathy corrected them.
No, that was I was taking some homeopathic remedies, and then I got the reaction after taking the remedy.
Some aggravation.
Yeah.
She got
Oh,
some aggravation.
aggravations.
Yes,
Got it.
yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, good. So that's how you knew that was your real. This is
Exactly.
real. Yes. Okay. So, okay, let's talk about some things that we're going to cover some points. We're going to get through about half of them, Robert and Justina, and then we'll take a commercial break, and then we'll come back and finish the interview. So, you know, let's talk about homeopathy and the concept of individuality.
So
Yeah. So that's something that I know you're really passionate about. Let me make you co-host, because I know you have some slides that you want to share too.
yes.
Okay, there you go. You should be able to share them.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Here it is.
Yeah, I can see it.
You can see it?
Yep.
Okay. Problem is to move it. Yeah. I can only see this one, but I cannot see more. Let's see.
Well, I see here why we need homeopathic medicines legally available for us to be able to conquer health and thrive.
Yeah. But I can't move the. Oh, here it is.
Okay.
Where now
Yeah.
I went too much.
Your
Okay,
arrow button.
here we are.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it.
Got
Okay. So yes, we will talk a little bit about many different things, but to start, the most important, or one of the most important parts of homeopathy, is to take into account the individuality. So it's the individuality of the medicine, and then we match it with the individuality of the patient or the case that we have. And this is how we match things together. You know, what we have in the medicines, we discover by the provings that are done in homeopathy. Then once we have this data, we match it with the data that we have from the patient. And this is what makes homeopathy so particular. and so beneficial because we are not uniform people, we're not the same, and the medicines should be individual. So this, I think, it's very important. So the problem, this is the guidance, the latest guidance in December
Well,
2022.
go back real quick, Robert. I want to talk about something on the previous
Sure.
slide. I think, you've actually helped me understand this from a manufacturing perspective on the previous slide. Because homeopathy is so highly individualized, it's actually in some ways expensive medicine, even though for the consumer it's affordable. Because from a manufacturing perspective, like, okay, if you have to make a large batch of one drug, that's very profitable medicine, right? But it doesn't benefit the end user necessarily. It benefits maybe the business, the company, big pharma,
Right.
whatever. But in homeopathy, we flip that. We make it actually, it's very challenging and expensive for a producer like you to make small batches of a lot of medicines, which makes it harder for you as a company to make that sustainable. But it does actually benefit the end user. So it's like exactly the opposite of the pharmaceutical model.
Exactly. We're going to go over that later. But yes, I have a slide
great.
about that.
Okay, sorry.
This
Okay.
is, yes, this is, we're in the opposite extremes and of the manufacturing spectrum. So
Yeah.
for manufacturing, it's better to have, that's why medicine is covered on or is based conventional medicine, that we're all the same. Because if we are all the same, then you can do a big batch. And then you can produce large quantities, and you give the same medicine to the same disease or diagnosis. So that principle, it's ideal for manufacturing, but we are the opposite. So it is very difficult. This is the biggest challenge that we have, but we're going to talk more about that.
Okay.
So this is just going into the guidance that homeopathic drugs are now subject to the same conditions as conventional drugs. And it talks about approval, adulteration, misbranding, and label requirements. So adulteration is when you add something that is wrong, or something that is bad to the medicine, or that you don't manufacture according to GMP. Okay, so everybody is agreed that that's important. Misbranding, when you're going to put something that is misleading or is not true. Okay, that's also important. Labeling, of course, the labeling has to be compliant with the regulations and whatever is inside. Now, the problem is approval. The word approval that they put there, that is an issue. So I wanted to let people understand better what is an approval. So this is from the FDA website, and this is what takes to do an approval of a drug. So you have to do all the preclinical, the clinical studies, the new drug application, phase 1, phase 2 clinical studies. And you see here, it says, sponsors. Yeah, this is the sponsor. The sponsor is the one that, does all the research and all the planning and all that. And let's put some numbers into this. So when you put some numbers, you will see that the average time right now to do a new drug is 13.5 years, with an average cost of 1,512 millions to do one drug. And that was in 2018. In 2022, now the cost is 1.7 billion to do one drug. Now the fees for FDA is 3 million just to do the application. So how can we, picture arnica or phosphorus. How can we pay that? This is one drug. So this is like, when you do the numbers, you see how impossible it is. And they're saying that we are subject to the same approval. Okay, do they want us to go through these and pay these for pulsatilla? It's just impossible.
And it's not even, Robert, you help me understand, it's not just pulsatilla, it's every potency of pulsatilla.
Yes, yes.
Or whatever, right.
Exactly. So it's almost $2 billion to do one drug. I mean, when you put some numbers, it really gets you into perspective of what is going on. Look at this. This is from the FDA website. The budget for the fiscal year 2024 is going to be $7.2 billion.
Oh, yeah.
Of that, 3.3 billions are in user fees, meaning the industry is paying 3.3 billions. That's, according to FDA, 45% of the budget is paid by the industry. Now, the New York Times says that it's 75%. That industry is paying 75%. So I guess somewhere the truth is somewhere between 45 and 75%. That is a lot. And this comes in fees from the manufacturers, fees from the resellers of conventional drugs. In homeopathy, we don't pay anything. So I mean, good for the moment, because we couldn't afford it.
Right.
This is the point that you were making. Then this explains why we are in the opposite of scaling manufacturing, because we manufacture small batches and many different medicines. This is nightmare for a conventional manufacturer. Nobody would want to do that because everybody knows about the cost, the regulatory compliance costs, which are much more than the active principles. So they wouldn't do this because just of the numbers. They want to do one medicine and do a big batch, because that will cover the cost. And with that is the principle that we were talking before about. Everybody's the same. Everybody that has arthritis is the same. And now in homeopathy, we know that that's not the case. The person can have a case of arthritis, but the medicine most probably is going to be different because we are individuals. Yes.
So like when you're talking about compliance with CGMP, there's all these boxes you have to check off when you make a batch of a medicine, and then
Yes.
to really restructure the facility, to clean all that off and start setting up for a new drug. That's a whole nother set of boxes you have to check off. And
Yes.
it's not even boxes that you have to check off. The way that I see CGMP is a bottomless barrel. It's really like when the inspector comes, it's like, it reminds me of that Dr. Seuss book where there's like the man who's hired to watch the bee to make sure the bee is working. Then you hire another man to watch the man who's watching the bee to make sure the bee is working. You hire someone else, and before you know it, you have this long line of people watching each other to make sure that the bee is working. And it's like, it's almost like they can force you down that rabbit hole to the point of extinction, really.
Yes. It's exhausting. It's really discouraging. Because it's just very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then we go, of course, with all the regulations. Let's see if I can. I want to open up a new document.
Yeah, because that's interesting. Let's talk about the history and how we got to where we are. Because I think that's really helpful for people to understand.
Yeah, if I could show it. Here it is. Hold on a sec.
That's okay.
Let me see if I can show this document, because this is an important document. How we ended up with this problem. Here it is. Can you see this document?
Not yet, no.
Okay, let me see.
No.
Share. Okay. This one. Here?
Yes,
Can you see it?
see it. Yeah.
Okay. This is a great document. This is about how we started, how we got into all these. So there have been a lot of, you're going to see all these problems and issues. Let me see, I can handle these documents. Okay. It all started I assume before 1937, but it's, when people die. So 107 people die. It was in the scandal of Massengill disaster. It was diethylene glycol, um, which is toxic, which now we need to test for that in the glycerin. Um, After people died, then they started this 1938. They passed the Federal Food and Drug and Cosmetic Act. That's where Senator Copeland included homeopathy there.
Yep.
So it was created in
Well, the
1938.
thalidomide disaster was basically a drug that caused a lot of people to die, and that
Yeah.
caused Congress, okay, let's make the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act.
Correct. And then in the 60s, it was a thalidomide disaster that it caused a lot of deformities in children. It was a huge disaster in Germany.
Yeah, you can still see, I still see today I see older men and women that have like just fingers coming out of their arm. Like I remember a woman at church, she could crochet with her two little fingers here, and she was a thalidomide baby. It was given to women during pregnancy that caused deformities in children. So that triggered the Kefauver-Harris drug amendment.
Exactly.
That meant you had to review for safety and efficacy, not just safety, that their benefits outweigh the risk, basically.
Correct. And then in the 69, that finally, they did the first GMP guidelines. So one disaster goes into triggering more and more regulation, which is in a way is understandable.
Right.
People die and they do disasters, and the Tylenol. Oh, that was a huge one. The cyanide poisoning with Tylenol, horrible things. 1982. Then they create the ICH, International Conference of Harmonization. Those are regulations that we also need to follow. And it goes more and more stuff. The Vioxx, that was his reason that 2004 increased the risk of heart attack. And that's after all the approval studies and all that. Yeah.
And I think they might wonder if their approval process was broken if this keeps happening, but
exactly. Yes, it keeps on happening. Look at there's one 2009 in Nigeria. There's a 2010, and there's another one 2015 of Sanofi medication, anticonvulsant, led to serious deformities. Thousands of children were affected. That's 2015, so that's pretty recent.
Pretty
Then,
recent, yeah.
Yeah. They tighten and tighten more and more. Okay, so I understand they tighten that, but I mean, since we are there since 1938, so they tighten also us.
So what you're saying is homeopathic medicines are legally drugs. And it's almost like all the way through 2015, FDA understood, but they're different drugs. They're not the same. So they weren't enforcing these, even though homeopathy wasn't exempt. FDA wasn't enforcing it, but that's where the draft guidance come in. That's where the shift in policy came. Now, something that homeopathy has just been kind of quietly excluded from. Now they're saying, no, you're a drug. Therefore, we have to enforce everything just like drugs.
Yes, that happened in 2017, which was the first draft guidance. So actually, I would say it started when
was the meetings. Yeah,
is the meetings, and then 2017 is the draft guidance, and from that moment, then they start to really enforce, the whole book on homeopathy. I understand that, we're drugs, but I mean, we're in a different level, and we were at a different level. Not anymore. And we need to comply with the book, this part, and I want people to understand a little bit more of what is the 21 CFR 210-11. So briefly, we're going to go over this.
So CFR is basically the current good manufacturing standards. That's the law.
That's the law.
Those.
Yes, yes.
And this is the minimum, guidelines of the minimum. I mean, those are the regulations that each manufacturer has to follow if you produce OTC drugs. It doesn't matter if it's allopathic or homeopathic medicine. You have to follow these regulations. Should I?
But so if this is the minimum, there's other things you have to do in addition to the law?
Yes, there are some guidelines from FDA that are non-binding guidelines, but we have to follow them.
Yeah, because one thing is the regulation, and then it comes guidances from FDA when they start to tighten even more. Okay, and then since we are drugs, okay, so those guidances also apply
To us.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so those are like like 6 maybe subparts: general information, organization and personnel, building and facilities, equipment, control of components and drug product containers and closures, production and process. Packaging and labeling. Holding, no. Okay, now I'm too far. Okay, I'm going back. Okay. Holding and distribution, the laboratory controls, records and reports, return and salvage drug products. So those are the general chapters. And like when we have inspection, the inspector has to cover at least 6, there are 6 different departments, and they have to cover at least 4 during the inspection. The inspection minimum, it takes 10 days. That's what they have assigned, but sometimes it can take more than 10 days. So during these 10 days, they have to review all the documents, all SOPs, all the forms, all the records that are completed, and check if we follow each of these points of regulation. So here I highlighted that this is the minimum of the good current manufacturing practice. And okay, the organization and personnel, there must be like quality control personnel. So it has to be persons that are educated and trained with in this industry, in the quality control, with some background of chemistry or biology or microbiology, somebody that will know the details and be able to be responsible for the unit. That's about the personal qualification. And we need to have, like, each person in the work, they have a specific job descriptions. So they need to be qualified, and the job description needs to be written, and they need to have training. And this training has to be like GMP training or on the job training, whatever they are doing, they need to know what they are doing and how to do it. Also, if we have consultants, it has to be a person that has experience and knowledge.
Which we have to hire.
Yeah, so they require not only, so they're requiring not only the manufacturing, but even like they tell you what kind of person you're allowed to even talk to for this.
Yeah, we have to hire consultants because it's too difficult, too much. So, but the consultants need to be qualified.
Right. So this is a lot. Did you have more you wanted to show on the history and on what the CGMPs are? I just want to make sure I don't miss the time for a break when I should take a break, but keep going.
Okay, so how much time do you have?
Well, we have all the time. I just need a break at some point that is logical when I should take a break. So just let me know. But this is a lot.
Yeah, you see, like you can see, this is the page number 6 of 29. So like each of these subparts has little details that they have to be completed in our SOPs, standard operating procedures, all these little details about the equipment, about the facility,
And
sanitation.
it's like each section could be its own book, really.
Yeah.
It has to be a part of the procedures.
Like cleaning. So you have to validate the cleaning. So cleaning is a very big issue.
So like, what do you mean
very-
by validate cleaning? Basically, you need to have a whole system that outlines exactly how you will clean each product and prove that that system is good enough, right?
Correct. Yes, yes. And that is complex. That is complex. You have to do a lot of testing to prove that, and to prove that the detergent is out, and to prove that it's clean, and to prove, I mean,
Yeah, first you have to select detergent, check if it's working for you. Then you have to validate the method, how to test this detergent. So this is like, you start with that. That
It's
takes
like
at
a bottomless
least
barrel. It's like you
yeah,
need to
Yeah.
have a process to clean it, but then you need to validate that each step in that process has also been validated.
yeah.
no, and the method that you're gonna test to prove
Yeah.
after cleaning that there is no more detergent, you have to validate that method. So
Yeah.
it takes
Oh,
months.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
this
great.
is long process.
Okay.
And that's expensive. It's expensive.
Oh, everything in this industry is expensive because this is the pharmaceutical industry. So I remember going to a show or whatever, and then the guy says he's selling some tanks, stainless steel tanks, and okay, from which company? Ah, you're pharmaceutical. You have all the money. So in their head, we should have all the money in the world. Not in homeopathy. Not if you manufacture homeopathic medicines.
That's true, because there is probably this attitude with the FDA inspectors where they feel like you're a pharmaceutical, you'll be
Yes.
fine. And it's like, no, no,
Yes.
no, no. We're the poor ones. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Because we don't have $2 billion to do one drug. Imagine $2 billion to do one drug. I mean, you have to have such a deep pocket. It's just
Yeah.
really.
Okay, where we are in the equipment. So like each equipment that we purchase, we have to install it, qualify that it's well installed, that it's operating, and it's proper for the process that we want. So this is like another big topic to cover, which takes a lot of
Yeah.
time and personnel
Yes.
to do it.
You need to validate the equipment is actually doing what it's supposed to do. So you have to prove it. Prove it.
Okay. Any electronic equipment, like we have a testing equipment, they need to have these electronic registrations, so nobody can change the data. So that is another topic. So like you prove that the test was not changed.
Like the commands you input to the machine, you have to prove that nobody can change those commands and change
Correct.
the machine's functionality. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to prove that.
Yeah, this is especially for the quality control equipment, like we have total organic carbon testing. So it has to be proved that nobody changed the test result. Here is about the like general requirements for the storage of the containers, closures. So everything that we purchase, it needs to be with specific specifications and type of material, and they have to be written and they have to be tested in the incoming stage. This part is talking about sampling. So like each process, we have the incoming, we take the samples, we test them, we approve them, they go to production. In the production, during production, we have again taking samples, checking if they are in compliance, continue production, and then the finished product, again, taking samples and assuring that everything is correct, and then we can release for sale.
And that's just one remedy and one potency before you have to clean it and start over with a new remedy.
Correct.
with the new process. Yeah. It is the drug product containers and closures. This is very important. Then production, I have here, production and process controls. So you see, like, we need to have batch records and master production records. Everything that is in the manufacturing process has to be written and checked each step of the process. Equipment, all the equipment needs to be identified, calibrated. The best, we have external company to come and calibrate like all the scales, thermometers, because that's the GMP.
Pipettes, you need to calibrate the
Pipettes.
pipettes, everything. Everything that measures something needs to be calibrated.
Wow.
Labeling control.
That's a whole other ball of wax, labeling to make sure you're in compliance.
Yes.
Yes, first you have to assure that the label is correct, that there is no misleading information. Then the label has to be approved by a QA. Then in the incoming process, it has to be checked by inspector, assuring that everything is correct. And that happens with each part of the packaging material. So if the bottle, closure, label, the case, carton, everything has to be verified.
Yes.
And also, like the labeling, we have to count all the labels to assure that nobody used the label for a wrong product.
Oh, yeah, if you make 20 products, you have to have 20 labels and you have to account for them. Wow.
Yeah, if there are some labels that are missing, where they are missing. So this is very important. Tamper evident packaging for OTC products. That means that the product needs a shrink band, something that you have to break to assure that it was not open and it's a good product. Drug product inspections, expiration date. So like homeopathic products, they are exempt from the expiration date, but still we have to do stability testing to assure that the product is good for specific time. For that, we do like physical testing, microbial testing. We have to check if the packaging material is still fine, if the label is not changing colors, if the carton is not this like deforming. It is very important, and we have to do it basically for each type of product. If we have 1 ounce bottle, 2 ounce bottle, pellets in small tube, in a bigger tube, it has to be in the finished product marketed packaging. Laboratory controls. This is a part where it's specifically for the QC lab, and it's the same, like equipment, it has to be installed, validated, qualified, calibrated. Personnel has to be qualified with experience and education, and all the records, they have to be safe, and we have to keep the records for at least 3 years after the product expiration date, and the records related to GMP at least 5 years, but the longer the better. Testing and release for distribution. This is about finished product testing before it goes to sell. Stability testing. Reserve samples. From each manufacturing batch, we have to keep at least amount of samples that we have to perform at least 2 complete tests. So that doesn't mean that 2 samples. Sometimes we need to keep at least 15 units or 20 units of the bottles to perform physical testing, microbial testing, And these samples, they have to be kept at least 3 years, or at least after the 1 year after the expiration date. So if we have expiration date of 3 years, we have to keep at least for 4 years. The records, documentation, yeah. Keeping documentation. Oh.
And this is, okay, so this is what you were asking about, this is the responsibilities. It's huge amount of work. Of course, I mean, Justina has assistants, but it's a lot.
So my responsibilities included, but not maybe all completed here. Develops and maintains quality system. It is a quality management system that it is a system that in each pharmaceutical company improves the quality. Develops and coordinates a GMP training program for personnel. Creates, review, and executes any plans, updates on validations, qualifications, internal auditing, corrective action requests, preventive actions, identified opportunities for improvements, CAPAs, corrective and preventive actions, plans, change controls. Anything that we want to change, it has to be controlled. So like if we want to update a document SOP, it has to be written why we want to change it. It has to be approved, the change, and written in the history what was changed. So we know exactly how was the original document and what was changed. So everything basically has to be written.
Everything is very amazing. It's amazing to me is that homeopathy is the safest category of drug. All these regulations were created for conventional drugs, and yet because homeopathy is considered legally a drug, it's being dragged through this entire process that doesn't even make sense for homeopathy, which brings me to homeopathy choice. Is this a good time to take a break? Because I want to keep talking to you guys, but it's overwhelming how much you guys have to go through.
Yeah, let's take a break and we will see some pictures in the next one. The next part is gonna be more fun, so don't worry.
Okay.
So take a break.
Okay, well, let me take over sharing here. You guys, I am having some crazy storms here in Texas. And I might lose connection. And Daphne, if that happens, don't worry. Daphne is going to take over the interview. And Daphne didn't know she was going to take over the interview, but now she knows she's going to take over the interview. And yay for being awesome. So again, this is our pledge drive, you guys. Our goal is to get to $45,000. This is going to help fund all of our legal fees. We work our team. We have very few people that get paid at Homeopathy Choice, but working these crazy full-time hours, or sometimes more than full-time hours, it's not sustainable for people to keep volunteering this. And so we do need your donations to help keep Homeopathy Choice pushing and running. We're the only organization right now that is pushing against the FDA, who is saying this is not enough, who's saying this isn't right. So we really do need you guys to please consider donating or becoming a member of the Bear Pack. Just so you guys know, the raffle for day one is going to be this Homeopathy Heroes card game that I've developed, this t-shirt from our shop, this wonderful this emergency medicine kit from Om Pharma, which is Robert and Justina's pharmacy. And we have this Materia Medica. We have awesome printables. Winner today, it's Marjorie Stearns. Now, Marjorie has donated to us leading up to today. We've been sending out some emails inviting people to donate. So thank you, Marjorie, for donating. She's actually very busy in the homeopathy community. She helps a lot at the National Center for Homeopathy. So I'm really excited to see that you won. Big you to our sponsors, the Texas Society of Homeopathy and the Florida Homeopathic Society. But just so you guys know, everyone who's donating right now is getting entered in the raffle. That's leading up to today. That's how Marjorie became our winner. And then moving forward after this. So again, our goal is $45,000. Now become a member of the Bear Pack. The Bear Pack is our most precious group of people. Once you become a part of the Bear Pack, you'll join us in our fight for homeopathy and freedom. You'll be part of our wonderful community. Michelle is our Bear Pack leader. She's like our, the Bear Pack mom who takes care of everyone. And we say the Bear Pack because we're the mama bears and the papa bears that are basically fighting for you to have access to homeopathic medicines and to make a system sustainable, a sustainable system for us to have access to it. And what Robert and Justina are describing to us right now doesn't sound very sustainable to me. It sounds overwhelming, and it's like a slow way to wear people out, because I can't see any new people wanting to start their own, homeopathy pharmacy like they have. And so this is what we're talking about, is I want this for my children and their children, and that's what the Bear Pack is all about. So before we go back to the interview, I want to interview Daphne. She is a member of the Bear Pack. So go ahead, Daphne. Go ahead and unmute yourself and turn on your camera. Hi, how are you guys? Hi. Robert and Justine, I'm going to turn off your video just for a little bit while I talk to Daphne. Thanks for being willing to take over hosting. My power went out. I'm in the RV though, so like the battery lights are on, but there's no power. So
you're doing great.
Yes, you might end up hosting. We're like connected to what for you to be. Oh no.
Okay, try again.
My connection is unstable. Okay, go ahead and tell us why you remember the Bear Pack and why do you donate, and also volunteer because you're also on the hat team. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I learned about homeopathy about 7 years ago, and it really was a desperate time in our lives, and we were looking for a miracle, and God provided that through homeopathy. And so that was right before the new guidance and regulation, the new guidance, draft guidance kind of came out. And so when I heard that this draft guidance came out and it was kind of threatening homeopathy, I was like, no, we cannot lose this, because it was so instrumental in our family being together. And honestly, the fact that we are all still alive, that's not overly dramatic for me to say that. So, and so I joined the Bear Pack. I was the state captain for a while, and I'm still a congressional lead in my district, because we really can't afford to lose these medicines. These medicines, sometimes, for my own family, these medicines have been the only hope that we have had for several years. And not to mention that they are efficacious, they are safe, they are affordable, we have access to them. And so we really can't afford to lose these medicines. This is how I take care of my family. So
yeah, I love that. And I have my camera off because I think it might work. It might work better for me if I keep my camera off. But Daphne, it's been so amazing watching your journey, because haven't you gone to homeopathy school now too? Because you started little homeopath as I am, but you have surpassed that level, right?
Well, no, actually,
yes.
No. That's very kind of you to say that. My background is in chemical engineering, and when I found homeopathy, yeah, I was just like, this makes the most sense. And it was very intuitive for me. And so I've not actually been to homeopathy school, but I am a self-learner, doing lots of learning. Yeah, maybe a lay practitioner, if that isn't offensive to say that, I don't know.
That's all right. Homeopaths are super awesome. That's my jam.
That's
so
right.
I have no interest in going to homeopathy school. I love everyone who does though. So good if you do.
Yep.
Well, very good. Well, you're so inspiring. You've been such a big part of our movement. You've been such a support behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, like you are right now, speaking for us. And I cannot thank you enough. I'm going to turn on my camera. I cannot thank you enough for being so amazing and for being there. You've been in some you've seen a lot happen behind the scenes. You've seen me in some intense meetings. I'll never forget the text message you sent me once, an intense meeting, like, you're doing good, Paula, keep your chin up, you know. And so I just thank you so much for being such a supporter, and just so thankful for you.
Well, Paula, that I could say the same about you. I appreciate your passion and the energy that you have to lead this movement, to get to know all of these great people like Robert and Justina, and to bring everyone together to be a united front in the most positive way possible. I have never been part of an organization that was more positive than this. We're not focused on the negative. We're not going out and saying shame on anybody. No, we're kind, and we're giving all of our, you know, our Congress people like that minimum dose, and we just being a light, shining a light. And it's been very effective so far, and I'm really excited to see where this is going to go in the future.
And we really do. Like, I love our bear pack. I love the energy there. I love our hat team. That's our homeopathy action team. We're just a very positive group. We get along. We're very different. We don't all agree on, you know, like left, right wing, like it doesn't matter. We're coming together around homeopathy. And it's just been a really inspiring thing to experience during a time when it is so divisive. So I'm just really thankful for people like you. We really have the best advocates. And so please consider joining the Bear Pack. Again, it's $25 a month if you join the Bear Pack. You can go to homeopathychoice.org and sign up. Right now, we are actually in the process of setting up a bill bring to members of Congress. So that means that we're operating out of our 501c4. This is all being done through our 501c4 Homeopathy Choice Action. That does mean that your donation is probably not going to be tax deductible, but I promise you it's worth it, because the 501c4 is different than 501c3. So please do consider joining the Bear Pack. You're going to get a lot of Bear Pack perks and a lot of love from us, and you get to be with people like Daphne. So thank you so much, my dear. Don't go away, just in case everything disconnects. So we might have you close out the show. Okay, thank you so much. All right, Robert and Justina, go ahead and start your video, and let's keep talking. And I don't want, Robert, you said like the next part is going to be funner and more exciting. No, what you have showed us is like a piece of like burden that both of you carry on your backs for us. So I don't want you to apologize at all for all of that stuff. It might be very technical, especially for the average person like me, but we are so thankful for all that you guys do and sacrifice to make sure that you guys comply with all of these crazy measures to make sure that we have access to that. Like, do not apologize for 1 second if that was boring, because it is just showing us the depth that you both go to as a couple, as a family. Like, I know this impacts your family life and, you know, the work-life balance. You guys have young girls that you guys are raising, and that I got to meet, which was so fun at JHC. They're very cute. And I'm just so thankful for all that you guys do, truly thankful. So what's next? What more did you guys want to talk about? Did you guys want to share more of your power?
Yes. Let's share more about the power.
Okay.
Yeah. Here.
Yeah, I'm constantly amazed at the bureaucracy that you guys have to deal with on a daily basis. And I'm sure when the FDA inspector comes, it's a stressful thing.
It's very stressful. It's been particularly since 2018, because before, okay, you know, they understood it was homeopathy. Okay, so now it's the drugs. We went over these. Well, this is about the inspection. So we have to, you know, a little bit about, you know, the different areas that they talked about in GMP. So they come and make sure that everything is perfect. And it is a lot of documentation. GMP is good manufacturing practices, but it also stands for get more people and get more paper, because it's so much. It's so much. Let's see. This is a manufacturing chart.
Yeah, this is like you can see manufacturing chart, like incoming of the materials. If it's not a material We have to test each raw material. If it's not approved, it has to be non-conforming, rejected. Then it goes to the dispensing, then it's compounding, mixing, then filling, printing. In each stage, you can see on the side, on the left side, what type of testing is done. So in each stage of the manufacturing process is a different type of testing.
So you guys, when I tell you that you should really support, you know, we love all manufacturers of homeopathic medicines, you know, Homeopathy Choice, we believe in choice. We love everyone. We're thankful for everyone. But when I say that you are doing a good thing when you buy a remedy from a manufacturer that's making the compliance effort, you're supporting this. You're supporting everything that the abuse that they go through on a daily basis, 365 days a year. You're supporting that. And I think that's really important for consumers to understand where their money is going when they're supporting an FDA registered, you know, manufacturer. I think that should feel good. Like you should feel buy Om Pharma when you buy from Hanman, when you buy from Washington Homeopathics. That should feel good that you're supporting someone who's really making a Herculean effort. So what's this here? This is the warehouse of raw materials and packaging materials.
This is just a flow chart, how to take the sample when we receive like a raw material of the herb or chemical, or if we receive material like a packaging. So it has to be written how to take the sample, how much to take the sample. Part of the sample goes for the microbial testing, part goes for the identification testing. Once it's all good, then we can proceed with the compounding.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the, this is a small area that it's closed, our sampling. So like all the samples, they have to be taken like to sterile bags, specific weight. So we have enough for the testing. This is the part of our warehouse where we keep raw materials. You can see the green labels with the approval. Once the ingredient passed all the testing, it is approved. This is.
So you're testing the source material. Sorry, you're testing the source material, the raw material, before it becomes a diluted remedy.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Each ingredient has to be identified, at least one identification test in order to proceed with the compounding. So there are different type of tests that we can use for homeopathic raw starting materials, like thin layer chromatography, that's more for herbals. FTIR, this is more like for chemical pure substances, Raman spectroscopy, UVVs, and wet chemistry, which is like a different type of test for identification.
Because the source material is different. Some are powders, some are not necessarily a liquid, right? So, okay.
Yeah, most of the time we start with the powders, chemical ingredients, minerals, they are powders. Some of them, they are liquid. So it has to, you have to go to the HPUS website, look at the monograph and check there which ingredient you have to buy, you have to start with in order to make the remedy. And for testing raw materials, we have some additional tests like microbial testing. We have to follow a USP. This is the same United States Pharmacopoeia as any other drugs they have to follow. We do additional heavy metal testing for herbal raw materials, pesticide testing. We have to test glycerin for diethylene glycol. And we test our alcohol for methanol. This is like impurities that are very toxic. On this picture, you can see our water purification system. So it is a lot of different tanks that they are used to purify the water, the salt tank, the carbon tank, the RO. Then the after tank, storage tank is a lot of additional filtration tanks. And the water system, it has to be daily tested for total organic carbon, conductivity, and pH. These tests are approving water as USP water. On this picture, you can see the equipment for TOC testing, total organic carbon. This is for water testing. Here's another total organic carbon tester that is inline, so the water is tested constantly, and for the conductivity and for the pH. Here we have, in our lab, we have the pH and the viscosity testing for the gels, pH also for the gels, liquids, creams. On this picture, you can see the equipment, this little device that says O, and O, it is a Raman. This is for identification testing, where you can, on this part, you can scan the standard, and then you scan your sample and you compare them and see if they are matching. That means that the sample is the ingredient that you are looking for. And the matching score, it has to be also high, because it cannot match just a little bit. It has to be really close to 100. Here is a picture of calendula flowers where we buy the flowers in order to make the tincture. And then we have to buy the standard. And again, with another equipment, with FTIR, we are comparing the spectra of the standard with the sample. And this equipment FTIR is more for the solid samples, and the other one, the Raman, was for the liquid sample. So like, we cannot test the liquid sample with FTIR. It will not work. This is the FTIR, and you can see the same type of spectra. And we have to, like, the standards, they are very expensive and they have expiration date. It's not that they last forever, and you have to use the freshly prepared standard with the sample that you are testing. On this report, you can see that the correlation is 0.9112, which means that, I mean, it's close, it is really good, but it's not going to be exactly the same, because the sample, it will be calendula from a different place. This is our cabinet with a bunch of different standards. We have maybe more than 100 standards for herbal, for chemicals, for the calibrations that we are doing in-house. We have to always have a fresh standard. And the cost of the standard is depends, it could be from 100 to 800 or even more. That's expensive. We have in this picture, this is showing distillation apparatus, where if we have tinctures and we have to check the alcohol concentration, this is the equipment that we use to test, and we can verify what the alcohol is in the product. This picture shows identification of the raw material by HPTLC. You can see this is calendula tincture. Okay, our sample, it is line 4 and 5. So you can see different color bands, and they are compared with the standards. So you can, on the picture, maybe number 2, you can really see how they are comparing 4 and 5 with 6, 7, that they have the standards needs to be very similar to the sample. So this is the part of identification testing.
So the standard is like the correct one, and then that's like the control, and then you're always comparing what you got to the control. And you probably can't just order calendula from anyone. You probably have to order calendula from the right supplier that is also following their own whole crazy thing, which makes it difficult, especially in homeopathy, to find some of our stranger raw materials. Like calendula is probably easier, but you know, I don't know, hepatic sulf, like that, like, you know, what is that anyways, you know? So that's harder to find someone who has that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, and the other part is that you know, some herbs, they do fail.
Yes.
They do fail the testing. So, you know, it's not that they are matched. No, because sometimes they fail. And if they fail, yeah, it's something else. It's something similar, but it is not.
Not exactly what
Exactly.
you're looking for.
Then you cannot use that. And you have to look for something that it is exactly what it is.
There are a lot of materials that are very expensive because they are very difficult to find. So once you find it, then suppliers, they try to get them as much as they can for little amount of herb, and they sort of dilute it with flour, with rice flour, with something that will reduce the potency of the remedy, of the herb.
Yeah, we've seen that, unfortunately.
This is example of the passion flower, which is Passiflora incarnata. The same comparing.
So who creates
Here,
the standard? Who creates the standard? Is that something you guys establish?
no, this we have to outsource testing because it's the equipment is very expensive. You need to have
But the standards.
and the standards they are provided by the company that is testing, because
Gotcha.
that's how they specialize.
Okay, okay.
This is another type of identification by microscopic testing. Is the same testing to the standard. This is Syzygium yambolanum. Here we have milk thistle Silybum marianum. That's very common in
So like number
homeopathy.
2 and number 3 look very different.
Those are done like different pictures depending what type of reagents they are adding,
I
and
see, okay.
they are later verified with the monograph. Here is a part of our lab. It is first picture is a hood for TLC testing, storage cabinets for chemicals, storage for the samples, a lot of paperwork. This is a picture of storage of the retention samples. Like from each batch, from each incoming, we have to leave the retention sample. If we purchase bottles, droppers, raw materials, herbs, we need to keep a retention sample. This is a part of the compounding. Here we have storage cabinets with the remedies, with different dilutions.
Wow. Wow.
And at the end, this is a picture with filling liquids.
The fun part. This is the fun
Yes.
part.
Yeah, that's a fun part. Yeah.
Okay, I found it. I found the one fun part.
Billy, yes.
It looks like it's fun, but it's not easy. Everything that you think that it's easy, it's not easy.
Yeah, I know. That's the mistake. That's the naiveness is it's like it's yeah.
Yeah. So
Single
now,
medicines are not profitable. Go ahead. Yeah.
right. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about the sales of homeopathic in the market. So leading sales are definitely combination products. I mean, those are the ones that bring the sales to homeopathy. It is estimated to be 1 billion. But if you compare it to the allopathic, if allopathic is 550 billion, so it's a 0.2%. It's very, very small. The market is very, the whole market is 1 billion, but allopathics, they spend 2 billions to do one drug. Imagine. Now, what is amazing is that 7% of all registered drugs with FDA are homeopathic.
Wow.
We have, yes, this is really a number that makes you think.
Mhm.
Single medicines are not profitable. I mean, the combinations are much more. I mean, the many companies have either gone out of manufacturing or reducing their offerings in single medicines or eliminating single medicines. So this is a risk for all of homeopathy because we need the single medicines. This is so important for homeopathy, for the practice. I mean, it is the base of homeopathy. But as you have seen, with all these regulations, it's not possible to be profitable. Cosmetics are much less regulated and cost more than homeopathic drug products.
The irony, yeah, the irony right there. So how do you guys sustain your business? How does it work? How do you make it all happen in the end?
It's I mean, I'm not a business person, so I think that's one of the reasons that you know, because if I would be a business person, just decide not to do it. But I think
Yeah.
I have a responsibility for homeopathy, and I'll just continue. You know, and FDA wants me to do more things, I'll just do it, and that's how it is. You know, and my father did very well with homeopathy. I owe everything to homeopathy. And you know, I'm willing to put everything into homeopathy. So that's how it is. This is the slide about the fires, the FDA adverse events reporting system. So this tracks, this is from FDA website from 1968 to the current March 2023. You see a total of 26 million, you know, adverse events. And this helps put homeopathy into perspective. Acetaminophen, Thailand, 133,279 reports, which is 0.5% of all the total adverse events. And that includes 31,000.
Some deaths.
It's scary. And then you go into homeopathics, 1,888 reports. It's 0.007%. I mean, and you know,
Isn't there for a long time, wasn't there, like, now I believe the AER did like herbal calendula and homeopathic calendula.
we lost you. Well, anyway, this helps us really to put a, you know, because the system that we work is a system based on risk analysis. And you know, there are some medicines in allopathic medicine that are pretty dangerous and toxic. And so in homeopathy, we have very good safety track record. So this is what I mean, we as a community have to do. Since FDA wants us to be inside this box of drugs, then and they put these guidances, FDA guidances. So HPCUS, which is the Homeopathic Convention of the United States, Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Convention of the US, decides to do these white papers. So what is a white paper? White paper is, you know, when a group of experts, you know, and then identify a problem and then they look into a solution. So the people in HPCUS, which do a great job, you know, they're trying to figure out all these issues, all these problems in order to satisfy FDA. Issues with the APIs, issues with the active pharmaceutical ingredients, finished product testing, validation of the dilution process, validation of trituration, blend uniformity, content uniformity for solid oral dose. I mean, these are very difficult topics that HPCUS is working on solving this. If they can come up with a solution, it's going to be very expensive. It would be extremely expensive. Now, are single medicines going to be able to survive with this? I don't know. That's a big question. But I mean, that is what we as a community need to do. I mean, FDA wants us to do this. So we as a community say, okay, let's figure out a way to do it. But that figure out a way to do it, very, very costly. Are single medicines going to survive this? I don't know. And then what happens if we lose the single medicines? You know, we will lose the part of individualization. And that is what, this is the argument that we make to FDA that says that we cannot undergo a new drug application because we are into individuality. So maybe the top sellers combinations could do an NDA. but you see, without a patent, it's unlikely that they will survive. They have to spend so much money. When are they going to recover? So homeopathic medicine manufacturers are forced to operate on the same standard costs as conventional pharmaceutical manufacturers. But our medicines are manufactured in small batches and cost a fraction of the cost of an allopathic drug. This is the reality.
And they're so much safer. And they're so much safer. Mhm.
Correct. The possible solutions. So, I mean, self-regulation. We are working on a quality seal for homeopathic products. And the other, only other way of solution is a legislation, change of legislation, which I mean, Americans for Homeopathy Choice, and you are working hard in that because this is the only path. I don't see any other way into defending homeopathy and particularly defending single medicines.
Yep, exactly. I agree. Yeah, you're fine losing battle to get us through, but really the ultimate solution is legislation. Sorry, my internet's crazy, guys. I literally have no power. Rainstorm, thunder, lightning, the cows are running back and forth. I can see them from my window. Everybody's freaking out, so I'm just trying to get through this interview. But yeah, I mean, that's why our work at Homeopathy Choice is so important. Did you want to share anything else before we close up, or Robert? Maybe stop your share so we can see your pretty little faces. Stop here. I can do it for you, or maybe you can. Yeah.
Stop sharing. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much for all that you guys sacrifice in doing. We're going to be talking to Todd Rowe later this week about the seal. The seal is an effort to create our own verification process within the community to show FDA that we have, like, they don't need to worry about it so much. We've got this handled, but I don't know if that's how we would actually describe it. But, you know, basically to show this has been done in other industries. We've seen the natural products for animals have been able to do this and get a little pressure off of them from the FDA. We've been able to, you know, just kind of talk to other groups that have been successful in that. So we'll be talking more about that. I think it's a really important thing. But you guys, end of the day, none of it matters if Homeopathy Choice is not successful with some sort of legislation to protect homeopathy. We've been working on that. We actually met with our group of attorneys last week as we continue drafting this. But, you know, we're at that point. I've been doing Homeopathy Choice for 5 years. Most of that time I was volunteering, but we all of us continue to volunteer so much of our time because the amount of time we work always goes over, you know, the effort we put in. Robert works tirelessly, Justina works tirelessly. So, you know, the purpose of this pledge drive is we need your support. We need your donations to keep this movement going, because it's so, like Jim Turner used to say, $1 in the hands of a passionate consumer goes farther than $1 ever goes with like pharma or, you know, FDA. And so your donations are precious to us. Please take a moment to share this video with your friends, send a text message to them, pass this interview around and tell them to join us for the rest of the pledge drive. We have some really cool people that are going to be on the pledge drive. Robert, I know I speak for everyone in the homeopathy community for how thankful I am to Justina and to Robert for all that you guys do. You guys have an amazing team at Om Pharma. I've spoken to them before. I need to come visit Mineral Wells sometime and do a tour. That would be really fun, especially because I just live like, you know, what is it, 2 hours, 3 hours away from you. So we need to make that happen sometime. But really, we're so thankful for you. We really, really are.
And we are thankful for you, Paula, really, because I mean, you see, you start working 5 years ago. This is when the problem started. You see, 5 years ago is that everything started, and then it's just going downhill. Why?
Yep.
Because some companies cannot sustain it, and you know, we have seen closures of homeopathic manufacturers. Very sad.
It's very sad. There's a pharmacy in Nevada that's been around for 20 years. They closed. We've seen A to Z Homeopathy. They tried to sell. They've closed. He's saying it's because he's retiring, but you know, I like to think, okay, I'm sorry. Listen, if you were doing great, you would have been able to sell and keep that business alive. You know, and there's others that have really struggled. You know, every time I talk to a lot of manufacturers, not just Robert, they're all so exhausted and hanging by a thread. And so please know that this is happening now, and your donations help us be able to get to that finish line. And we are committed to doing this. I will stay to the end. And but we need to make this sustainable for all of us. So, all right, guys. Justina, any final thoughts before we go? The Latins talk.
Thank you for thank you for having us. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. Well, I hope you guys have a good evening at 6:30 Texas time. So you guys go have dinner. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Tomorrow we'll be back with another speaker. We're going to I'll share my screen here for you guys to see if my internet lets me. We will be having Sue Meyer. We're going to be talking about children constitutional. She's delightful and really, so I'm excited about that. And then just a reminder that we have Marjorie on our day one raffle, which is all of these things you're seeing here. And everyone just remember that our goal for this pledge drive is 45,000 plus. Always reach our goal every pledge drive. It's been actually a little bit longer than 6 months since our last pledge drive. So we are really needing you guys to step up. So far we have 3,800. Please consider donating. We need your support. Social media suppresses things like this. And so please take a moment to share this with everyone. Share this all over. We need your support. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good evening, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.